In your opinion, what is the characteristic that distinguishes successful people from the rest? When we observe someone successful, we automatically assume that they are intelligent, gifted, or both. Or what is it about accomplished people that makes them successful? Even while it may appear that there isn't just one thing, but several, that could have some truth to it. They all boil down to a single characteristic or habit. How come most individuals will never break free from their pattern of dependency and misery? When a child is 4 years old, how can you predict if they are going to be successful? What do wealthy parents unwittingly teach their children that makes them successful? This is Capital Finance, your ultimate go-to channel for business ideas, entrepreneurship, and investment. For today's video, we're going to talk about something different. We will dig deep into the psychology of why it's hard for poor people to be financially free. So, stick around and make sure to finish this video. Don't forget to like this video and tell us what you think in the comment section below. The most successful individuals in the world are those who can wait for their reward. Refusing to accept a lesser, more immediate benefit allows you to accumulate a more significant, longer-term gain. When you put down your phone and go back to the task at hand, alternatively, instead of wasting time on Facebook, you may study for your test the next day or go to the gym after work instead of going out. According to the findings of recent studies, delayed gratification is an excellent habit. As a result, students achieve a more significant degree of educational performance, improved physical and mental well-being, and interpersonal maturity. Walter Mischel tested a theory at Stanford University in the early 1960s. 2 seats and a table are all that's there in the area. Children were given a candy by a researcher, who explained that he was going to leave the room, and the children had 2 choices. They could ring the bell next to the candy at any time and eat the candy. Or they could wait until I returned about 15 minutes later and I would get another candy so that you would earn 2 candies. The bargain seems fantastic, doesn't it? A modest prize now, or a larger reward afterward, was the message. What were the children's final decisions? Others succumbed to temptation and tucked into the candies. As a result, others could hold out for the promised reward of 2 candies and reap the benefits. A study by Mischel reported that kids could hold off eating their candies longer if they used cool distraction techniques like trying to cover their eyes or hiding under the desk, singing songs or visualizing snacks rather than the one in front of them, or if they shifted their focus from the candy's delicious taste to the candy's similarity to a cotton ball. It's time for the action to begin. In 1981, Mischel decided to see if the experiment he did might teach us anything about these children. The youngsters who waited the longest outperformed their peers in various ways. For example, they had higher SAT scores and peer relationships as teens, and their parents regarded them as being more competent, capable of handling pressure, and prepared ahead. It was shown that they have been less likely to suffer from conduct disorders or high levels of impulsivity and hostility. High delayers had lower rates of substance abuse and other behavioral addictions as adults and divorce. The study was so extensive that it could impact the subject's weight. Almost 30 years later, there was a 2% drop in BMI. However, youngsters unable to wait long enough for the second candy failed to establish acquaintances and cope with stressful situations. If you couldn't wait for the second piece of candy as a youngster, does it suggest you won't be successful as an adult? The solution isn't as simple as you would think. It's a little more complicated than it appears at first. According to Walter Mischel's studies, being able to postpone or delay pleasure is a muscle. In the long run, it won't matter if it's a big success or not. You may exercise it like any other muscle. Keep in mind that the prize you receive must be worthwhile to you. Delaying or delivering immediate satisfaction has little value if the reward isn't a powerful motivator for the desired activity. That is to say, To wait for satisfaction, you must choose a prize that is much greater in value. Suppose you've chosen to put away money for the future and invest it, but then Adidas come out with new shoes that you can't wait to get your feet on, making the benefits of saving money, such as financial freedom, perfectly apparent to your brain is the only way to escape the urge of buying a pair of Adidas shoes. According to a 2018 experiment by Tyler Watts, who was influenced by Michel's study, a person's parents' income impacts delayed gratification. People born into wealthy families are more likely to put off eating the second candy until later in life, whereas those born into poor families are more inclined to eat the first candy right away. In contrast to Michel's small sample of 90 children, Watts surveyed a far more significant number of people, 900. Also, the parents' education and racial background reflect the broader population. Children's capacity to delay gratification and long-term success can be explained by things like the home income of the parents. In his research, he found no evidence that being able to wait for pleasure leads to greater results. However, a child's capacity to hold out for the second candy is more closely tied to their socio-economic status. Kids who have a solid educational foundation are more likely to succeed in the long run than those who can wait for pleasure. Here we go with a test. Children who had college-educated moms were better off in the long run, but they didn't perform better on tests or behave better. We discovered the same trend among kids with non-college-educated mothers. However, a comparison of the two groups revealed a significant disparity. Compared to children from lower-income families, those who waited for the second candy performed much better. According to the researchers, there is a lot less certainty in everyday life for impoverished children, who concluded that there is a lot less food in the fridge today, but it doesn't mean there won't be food tomorrow. If their parents promise to buy additional goodies tomorrow, they may not follow through because they lack funds. In contrast, delayed gratification is often simpler for children whose parents are more educated and make more money, since experience tells them that adults have the means and financial stability to maintain their promise. They'll still get other treats even if they don't get the candy. Numerous more studies back up my claim, including scarcity. Why having too little means so much, which I highly recommend. A lack of resources might cause people to choose immediate gratification over long-term well-being. When a child has cause to assume that the first candy will disappear immediately in front of his eyes, the second candy appears impossible. Many youths who grew up in poverty choose to work long hours in low-paying jobs to make ends meet. Payday is a time when the youngsters still treat themselves to items like McDonald's or new clothing while barely meeting the expenses. Various studies have shown that parents with lower incomes are more inclined to give in to their children's pleas for sweets. It appears that impoverished parents strive to spoil their children when they can, but wealthier families incentivize their children to save up for more important and better things down the road. It may seem absurd to have an ice cream or a shoe bar. The problem is that they are typically the only luxuries that poor families have the money for. And for poor youngsters, savoring a few moments of happiness now may lift their spirits, especially when there is no promise of additional happiness in the future. Most individuals will never be able to break free of this cycle of poverty. Nobody deserves to live in poverty. However, we live in a society where everyone isn't given equal opportunities. The education system must act on this and create programs on the curriculum that teaches students about finances, investment, and savings. Moreover, we will not go into that, as that will probably be another video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below your thoughts. Also, click the subscribe button and the bell next to it to keep notified of our latest content. See you at the next one.